Welcome to the Flag Bearer channel. This is Little Known Black History Facts. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Breffu, the Queen of St. John. In 1733, one of the most powerful and successful slave revolts in history took place. At the heart of this rebellion was a fearless woman known as Queen Breffu. Breffu was a leader of the 1733 Slave Revolt on the island of St. John in the Danish West Indies, now the U.S. Virgin Islands. She was an enslaved African, believed to be from the Akan ethnic group of present-day Ghana, and played a key role in one of the longest and most successful slave uprisings in the Americas. Today, we're diving deep into her story and how she led enslaved Africans in an uprising that shook the Caribbean and sent fear through European colonizers. Breffu was a significant figure in the history of St. John Island, known for her influential role in the Slave Revolt of 1733, which led to her being called the Queen of St. John. Breffu was an African-born woman who led a group of enslaved people in a rebellion against their colonial masters on St. John, which was then a Danish-controlled colony. The revolt began in November 1733 and was one of the most notable slave uprisings in the Caribbean during the 18th century. In the early 1700s, the island of St. John was under Danish rule. Plantations were built, and sugar, cotton, and indigo were the primary crops. But behind the wealth of the Danish colonizers was the suffering of enslaved Africans, forced to work under brutal conditions. The enslaved population endured severe brutality, and a recent drought had made their suffering worse. Food shortages and increased punishment by Danish overseers created deep resentment. Breffu was one of the key leaders of the uprising. The enslaved Africans, led by Breffu, rebelled against the harsh conditions they faced on the sugar plantations. Unfortunately, the rebellion was eventually suppressed by the Danish authorities, but it marked a significant moment in the fight for freedom and resistance against slavery in the Caribbean. Breffu's leadership in the revolt has made her a symbol of resistance and resilience. However, historical records about her life and the events of the rebellion are limited, as much of the documentation came from colonial perspectives that downplayed the role of enslaved individuals and their leadership. Many of the enslaved Africans in St. John were from the Akwamu people of present-day Ghana. The Akwamu were not just any group, they were former warriors, rulers, and strategists. And in 1733, they decided to take back their freedom. The revolt began on November 23, 1733, when the enslaved Africans seized control of the island from the Danish colonizers. The rebellion was carefully planned, with enslaved rebels using hidden weapons to kill plantation owners and to take over key locations. The insurgents, led by figures like Breffu and others, controlled most of St. John for nearly 6 months. Breffu personally led an attack on the home of plantation owner Peter Coyer, killing him and his wife. Alongside other rebel leaders, she helped coordinate raids on plantations, eliminating the enslavers and seizing weapons. This wasn't just a random uprising, it was a carefully planned revolution. The enslaved rebels secretly organized, communicating in ways their enslavers wouldn't understand. Their plan was brilliant. A small group of enslaved men would enter the island's main fort under the guise of delivering wood, but hidden inside those bundles were weapons. Once inside the fort, the rebels launched their attack. They killed the Danish guards and took control of the fort's cannons and weapons. With the signal given, the uprising spread across the island. Breffu's attack on the plantation owner and his family set an example that the enslaved people would no longer be ruled by the Danes. In just hours, the rebels controlled nearly the entire island. They divided land and homes among themselves, effectively ruling St. John. It was one of the longest-lasting slave revolts in the Americas, and for months they held off the Danish forces. But the Danes weren't going to let go of their colony so easily. When they realized they couldn't defeat the rebels alone, they called for backup from the French. By April 1734, Denmark, unable to suppress the rebellion alone, requested military assistance from France, which sent troops from Martinique. French warships arrived from Martinique with hundreds of soldiers. Armed with superior firepower, the French and Danish forces launched a brutal counterattack. The French and Danish forces gradually regained control, killing or capturing many of the rebels. Rather than surrender, Breffu and several other leaders took their own lives in a final act of defiance. The rebellion was crushed, but its impact was felt across the Caribbean. It terrified European enslavers and inspired future revolts. Today, Queen Breffu is remembered as a symbol of resistance and courage. She is remembered as a symbol of resistance against slavery. She is honored in the Virgin Islands as a hero of Black resistance and liberation. Her name lives on, not as a victim of oppression, but as a warrior who dared to fight back. Until next time, if you like little-known history facts as I do, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Press the bell to be notified of future uploads. Thank you for watching.